What's good, everybody? It's the Clown with Cam Show. NFL Week 13, some big games. Not to mention, we are 1 and 2 weeks out from fantasy football playoffs. That's huge to me because last year I missed in both leagues. Now this year I'm sitting in the top 3. I'm sitting in the lead. I need a pillow and a cover. I love it, dude. It's amazing. It really is. When you put in the hard work and you start to see the results, just like when you're in the gym, you just love it. You really do. So I'm taking off in fantasy. I want to see my Indianapolis Colts get a dub this weekend going into Tennessee. They're 1-point favorites, but the reality's going to set in, I think. Jonathan Taylor's out for a couple weeks with a wrist injury, which is terrible news. We needed Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor's our best player on the squad. Absolutely no doubt about it, dude. He's way better than everybody on the Indianapolis Colts roster is Jonathan Taylor, and he's out. But we do have a great backup in Zach Moss. Zach Moss this season's really been balling out when he has played earlier this year. 5 touchdowns this year, over 600 yards rushing for Zach Moss. That's huge to me, especially for fantasy terms. If you were to drop Zach Moss on fantasy, I would have said you're an idiot, dude. Like, keep Zach Moss. Why would you drop him? We're talking about a guy, Jonathan Taylor, who missed the first 4 games. Now he's getting ready to miss some more games as well, which I need him back by week 14 or 15. That's when I need JT back. I need him. I need Jonathan Taylor. I really do for fantasy-wise. But for Gardner Minshew, he's an okay quarterback. 8 tutties, 7 interceptions. But I'm telling you right now, continue to bet every single game that he starts, which is the rest of the season, that he's going to throw a pick. Minshew is guaranteed to throw a pick. I'm telling you, kind of like Tua right now. Guaranteed to throw interceptions. I don't know what they see or why they're doing some of the throws they're doing, but, they're throwing picks. And Minshew will throw a pick. And we look at the other side, Tennessee, Derrick Henry normally runs well against the Indianapolis Colts. So that's my biggest threat right now is stopping Derrick Henry. I understand he's towards the end of his career. People saying he's washed up. I think he's on a washed-up team. I think Tennessee Titans are washed up. I think they should have traded Ryan Tannehill literally like 5 years ago. Like, they were like 5 years late. 4 or 5 years late. Like, Tannehill's garbage. They have a rookie in Will Levis out of Kentucky. He's got 6 tutties and 2 picks. I think they need to stick with him, and I think they will the rest of the season. I'm talking about next year because Tennessee Titans aren't going to make the playoffs, and I don't think either are the Colts. And if the Colts happen to make the playoffs, they're going to lose first round. That's what it is. That's who the Indianapolis Colts are. That's who they've been ever since Jim Irsay, the owner of the Indianapolis Colts, decided to come up with a great idea that, hey, Payne's past his prime. Let's trade him. Let's draft Andrew Luck and see how this goes. And then the rest is history. Then we come to present day in 2023. The Colts are still trash. I understand. Oh, yeah, they're above 500. Great, dude. Like, I never heard that. Growing up as a kid, growing up in Indiana, like, the Colts would win 12-plus games a year. Nowadays, it's like, oh, if we win 8 or 9 games, it's great, dude. No, dude. We had it so great with Peyton, dude, and ever since he left, they just fell off. They fell off the map, and that's just the sad reality of it. But honestly, I want to go Indianapolis Colts. I just think if they stop the run and Derrick Henry, they will win. If not, if Derrick Henry's going to run all over them. I really do. I want to say Colts. I'll go Colts. I'm not going to bet on this game. I'm just not. I'm not going to touch that at all. But I'll go Indianapolis Colts right now. I still think Zach Moss is a great backup running back. He's hungry. He runs really hard. And I think that's going to be the difference here. So I think that and adding with Michael Pittman Jr. this year with 3 tutties, about 800 yards receiving, I think the Colts can make some noise here. And we're talking about a Tennessee team who's banged up a little bit, who's really just not that good, washed up. Like I said, they invested in Ryan Tannehill, dude. Like, dude, that's crazy. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Ryan Tannehill? Out of all cats, you guys are believing in Ryan Tannehill, dude. That's just like, dude, it doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. But I'm going to go Colts. I'll take the 1-point spread. I really will, even though Tennessee has DeAndre Hopkins, 4 tutties this year, about 700 yards receiving. So look for him to get involved. For fantasy terms, DeAndre Hopkins, not Devontae Adams. DeAndre Hopkins is a must-start for fantasy-wise this weekend. If you bench DeAndre Hopkins, you are silly, dude. Why would you bench him? He could go off anytime, any moment, 20, 30-plus. So, DeAndre Hopkins is a must-start. So is Zach Moss is a must-start for fantasy. I'm going to go Colts at 1. 42.5 is the over-under. Probably lean more towards the under, but I love the Indianapolis Colts going to Tennessee. Handle Tennessee, who's a washed-up team. Okay, don't lose to this game. Don't lose this game. Don't lose to this team. I like my Indianapolis Colts to get a road win. Take off. Let's go. And then we got the Carolina Panthers versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Bucs are 5-point favorites. They're 4-7 this year. But you know what? The first time I called the upset when the Carolina Panthers won, they did. There's only one game that I called, and I got it right for Carolina Panthers. And you know what? I'm going to say the Panthers upset here. Even though, Mike Evans is a baller, top 5 receiver, in my opinion, in the NFL, I just think Baker Mayfield, he's an average quarterback. He's still a sober Johnny Manziel. He works hard, he's sober, but at the same time, he's still kind of trash a little bit. He really is. I'm not a hater of Baker. It's just the reality of it, dude. Baker's never going to win a Super Bowl as a starting quarterback. He's just not, dude. Like, he's a good quarterback at, second string, really, if we're talking, like, Super Bowl contender teams here. But, Baker is okay. Like, he'll be out of the league in 5 years. So what are we talking about? And then Rachaad White, 559 yards rushing and 4 tutties. He's a baller. And Mike Evans, 9 touchdowns, 850 yards receiving. Obviously, the Bucs should be favorite in this matchup, but I want to see Carolina come out here on any given Sunday. Anything's possible. I'm going to go Carolina with the upset here. Just one time for the one time. Let me see Carolina and Bryce Young take off here. Bryce Young, 9 tutties, 8 picks. Adam Thielen, 4 touchdowns. Really having a great season for a veteran receiver. But Carolina, I want to see fire in them. I want to see them come out here into Tampa in warm weather and just run right through these guys. I want to see Bryce Young throw for 4 touchdowns, have his best game of his career this game. That's why I think Bryce Young's going to do. I like the Carolina Panthers with the upset. 36.5 is the over-under. Let me go with the over. I think Bryce Young's going to be throwing the ball a lot. Same with Baker. I love the Carolina Panthers by a game-winning field goal with the upset, with their second victory all year. Shout out to the Carolina Panthers. And then we got the LA Chargers versus the New England Patriots. Look, the Patriots this year are 2-9. Like, obviously, without their GOAT, they're done, dude. Like, Bill Belichick should retire. If not, it's really just going to hurt his legacy. When you're winning 3 games a year in New England, like, something's wrong there. And what really went wrong is New England Patriots believing in Mac Jones. We're talking about a guy who's really just going to be out of the league in 5 years, and if he's not, he's going to be a backup quarterback. It's like, dude, he should be, like, working at Walmart right now. Mac Jones is trash, dude. He's freaking trash. He really is, dude. He's got 10 touchdowns and 12 picks. That should tell you enough. They should have started Bailey Zappi week 1. So, shout out to Bailey Zappi. I want to see his shot. Stevenson, 580 yards rushing and 4 tutties for the Patriots. But you know what? I'm going to go Chargers here. Every time I bet on the Chargers, I end up losing and they end up choking on a big one. But, they're 5.5-point favorites. I'm going to go Chargers. Justin Herbert, 20 touchdowns, 6 picks this year. Great for fantasy. Justin Herbert, top 3 quarterback fantasy terms. But if we're talking about going into the playoffs and winning big games, Justin Herbert's not that guy. We're talking about a guy who got paid a boatload of money and is 0-1 in the playoffs. And people are hyping this kid up, dude. Like, Justin Herbert's the next superstar here. He's 0-1 in the playoffs, and they're going to miss this year. What are we talking about? Why are we talking about Justin Herbert, dude? This dude is trash. He's trash. I'm telling you, overhyped. Austin Eckler really does not pan out this year, been hurt, banged up. And I know some people that selected Austin Eckler in the first round of fantasy. And I'm thinking, dude, that's dumb, dude. That's silly. Why would you do that? I understand he had a great year last year, but we're talking about the Chargers here. Prima donnas. They look good in uniforms, but when it comes to winning big games, they don't do it. The best player on the LA Chargers is by far Keenan Allen. Shout out to Keenan Allen on my fantasy squad. Been going crazy, dude. A top 2 receiver fantasy terms. Tyreek Hill and Keenan Allen. That's who it is, and Keenan Allen's been going nuts, dude. 1,117 yards receiving and 7 touchdowns. Really could be more tutties, but, he's questionable right now. He's been banged up a little bit. I want to see him really sit this week because this isn't the playoffs yet. I want to see him come back fresh, legs, everything next weekend. So I wouldn't even be upset if Keenan Allen, ends up saying, hey, I'm going to sit out this weekend, rest my body and all that, which he deserves it. He's been going crazy this year. But I'm going to go Chargers at 5.5. 40.5 is the over-under. Probably more towards the under because the Patriots have no offense. They got a guy, Mac Jones. Bailey Zappi needs to be the guy. Should have been the guy week 1, but, Bill Belichick thinks he's like God or something when it comes to coaching because, without his GOAT, Tom Brady, Bill Belichick's really just an average at best coach. Am I wrong or am I right? Like, what is it? How come he's losing games like this? How come the New England Patriots are 2-9 right now? 2-9. You know, everybody wants to talk about that, but it's like, dude, 2-9. You know, the Patriots, man, they're done. Bill Belichick's done. He should retire. Robert Kraft should sell the New England Patriots organization while it's at its peak still. You know, really, a couple years ago was his peak, but he should sell it. Sell the organization. Robert Kraft, settle up in the sunset in your yacht and be cool. And hang out with Tom Brady on the weekends. That'd be great. I like the LA Chargers over the New England Patriots. And then we got the Arizona Cardinals versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers are 6.5-point favorites. Arizona's 2-10 this year. Just recently got Kyler Murray back, who's really been balling. 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Then you got Marquise Brown with 4 touchdowns. He's questionable with the heel injury. But, you know, I'm going to bet smart on this one. I'm going to go Pittsburgh Steelers here. The smarter bet would be money line. I do think this game's going to be really close. Kenny Pickett, 2,000 yards passing, 6 tutties, and 4 picks. Then you got Najee Harris coming around at the right time. About 600 yards rushing and 4 tutties. George Pickens, 662 yards receiving and 3 tutties. I like Pittsburgh here. Playing at home with T.J. Watt and that defense coming along right now towards playoffs, I think Pittsburgh Steelers and head coach Mike Tomlin have something brewing right now. They're continuing to win games. Kenny Pickett's continuing to look better. Ever since they fired the offensive coordinator, Canada, they've been looking way better. They really have. So I like the Pittsburgh Steelers here at home. I do think this is going to be a close game, but I love the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think Kenny Pickett's going to throw for 3 or 4 tutties. Najee Harris, I want to see him score a couple touchdowns. I love Pittsburgh over the Arizona Cardinals. 41.5 is the over-under. Definitely go with the under, but I love the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then we got the Denver Broncos versus the Houston Texans. The Denver Broncos are on a 5-game winning streak, which is insane. You know, it's crazy. Shout out to Russell Wilson. I doubted him this year after watching him last year just really have this worst season of his NFL career. Like, straight up, worst season ever. But right now, Russell Wilson's coming along at the right time. About 2,200 yards passing, 20 touchdowns, and 4 picks. Now, my thing is with Russell Wilson is sometimes I don't see the hunger in him. I don't see the passion sometimes. I don't know what it is. It's just inconsistent to me with Russell Wilson. But right now, they're consistent and they're winning games. That's the most important thing. Cortland Sutton, 560 yards receiving and 8 tutties. Honestly, but I'm going to go Texans here. Texans are favored by 3 points. Denver's going into Houston. Why am I going Texans here? Strictly because of how C.J. Stroud is playing. The rookie quarterback out of Ohio State, I'm telling you, been balling. He's got 3 rushing touchdowns, 3,266 yards passing as a rookie. 19 touchdowns and 5 picks. That's crazy. He's definitely going to win Rookie of the Year. No doubt about it. And then we got Nico Collins, 800 yards receiving and 5 touchdowns. I think Houston is going to win this game. Why? Like I said, because of C.J. Stroud. He's dialed in. His receivers are dialed in. They're playing great. You know, I love the Houston Texans. I think they're going to really beat it by 2 possessions here. 47.5 is the over-under. I probably lean more towards the under here. Denver typically doesn't score a lot of points here. Even though the Houston Texans have been scoring points after points, I do think it could go under here. The over-unders are so tricky to me sometimes, but I'm telling you right now, Houston Texans are going to beat the Denver Broncos. Take off C.J. Stroud. Let's freaking go. And then we got the Detroit Lions versus the New Orleans Saints. Detroit is 4.5-point favorites. The Saints are 5-6. This is the New Orleans Saints' biggest game yet right now. We're talking if they lose, they're probably, most likely out of the playoffs here. This is a must-win game for New Orleans. And Derek Carr's been banged up pretty much all year. Over 2,500 yards passing, 10 tutties, and 5 picks. And then you got Kamara, 457 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. Chris Olave, 3 touchdowns, over 700 yards receiving. I think, this is the game where they need to step it up here. And the Lions last week did not look so great. I look at Jared Goff saying, all right, he's had a good season, over 3,000 yards passing, 18 touchdowns, and 8 picks. And then David Montgomery, definitely their number 1 back. He's got 9 touchdowns, 648 yards rushing. And then St. Brown, almost 1,000 yards receiving and 5 tutties. I think, obviously I want to go Lions here. But what I've been seeing recently with the Detroit Lions is I'm not really having a lot of faith with them. I'm just not. I mean, they're just so inconsistent to me right now towards getting towards playoffs, which throws up a huge question mark for me, but I'm still going to go Detroit Lions. I don't want to be a sucker here. Am I being a sucker taking the Detroit Lions here? I don't know, maybe, but they're the better team here. And Jared Goff is a better quarterback. He's better than Derek Carr. At least he's having a better season right now. I think they're going to take it here. I think St. Brown is the difference maker offensively. I think the Detroit Lions need to put pressure on Derek Carr. Put all the pressure you want on him. That's what you have to do to win this game. So I like the Detroit Lions to beat the New Orleans Saints in this matchup. 46.5 is the over-under. I probably go with the over here. Why? Because I think Detroit, this is the game where they put up 30-plus points here. I love it. Take off Detroit Lions. They're 8-3. After this game, they'll be 9-3. Take off Detroit. Let's freaking go! And then we got the Atlanta Falcons versus the New York Jets. Atlanta's 2-point favorites here, and I'm going Atlanta here. Desmond Ridder, he's got 1,908 yards passing, 7 touchdowns, and 8 picks. He's still relatively fresh in the league. I think it's his second or third year in the NFL. Then you got Robinson, the rookie running back, over 700 yards rushing and 3 tutties. Drake London, 2 touchdowns, 565 yards receiving. I think they're going to run right through the Jets. Jets are banged up. They got a quarterback, Tim Boyle. Never heard of him before. Breece Hall's questionable with a hamstring injury. He's got 2 tutties this year. And then Garrett Wilson, 695 yards receiving and 3 touchdowns. The Jets, they start off great. Obviously, the first 3 snaps, and then the 4th snap when Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles. That's when I knew the New York Jets were not going to make the playoffs this year. And a lot of people did a lot of preseason bets saying the New York Jets would go all the way, the dark horse to win the Super Bowl. No. Aaron Rodgers will be back next year, so there is a bright future for the New York Jets moving forward. But right now, I'm going Atlanta. I think Desmond Ridder is going to have a good game here, and I think that's the difference. So I'm going to go Atlanta over the New York Jets all day in this matchup. Take off Atlanta Falcons. Let's go. And then we got the Miami Dolphins versus the Washington Commanders. The Washington Commanders fired their defensive coordinator, which could be relatively good news, since they were giving up a lot of points. But we have Tua, 3,177 yards passing with 22 tutties and 10 picks. I think for Tua, right now, this is the moment where, hey, let's not throw any more picks here. We're getting close towards the playoffs here for fantasy-wise, so I want Tua to be on his A game. Just like Tua started off week 1, the first month of the NFL, I think this is where he starts to get back to that. Starts to get back to the 30-plus points. That's what I want from Tua. No more picks. And then we got A-Chain coming back. He's going to get a little less snaps, but come week 14, 15, 16, that's when A-Chain's going to be the number 1 back. I can't wait for that. Then we got Tyreek Hill, the best receiver in the league, over 1,300 yards receiving and 10 touchdowns. We're talking Tyreek Hill is a walking lick in fantasy football, dude. Like, he's putting up 20-plus a game. I think he's averaging like 23 a game, dude. That is insane as a receiver. Tyreek Hill, which he went in one of my leagues, shout to Jay Dunsey, in Experts versus Rookies, he went 8th overall. How did Tyreek Hill slip to number 8, dude? I have no clue. I don't know what it was, but Tyreek Hill's a top 3 pick year in and year out. Next year, fantasy-wise, Tyreek needs to go top 3. If Tyreek doesn't go top 3, I don't know what they're doing. That is crazy to me. We're talking about a guy who's going to get you 20-plus points every single game. He might have 1 or 2 bad games here and there. That's it. Like, he's putting up crazy numbers. So shout out to Tyreek Hill, the best receiver in the NFL. I'm going Miami at 9.5. I think Miami's going to run right through him. I don't want Miami to really crap the bed here and have a bad game. No, I want them to run through him. I want them to beat him, which I do think they will. Sam Howell on the other side, 18 tutties, 13 picks. Brian Robinson Jr., 611 yards rushing and 5 tutties. Terry McLaurin has 2 touchdowns. So Washington Commanders definitely have some talent. Absolutely. You got Dotson from Penn State. They got some dogs, but I'm going Miami here. I'm going Tua and Tyreek Hill are going to be the difference. You got Waddle. I'm telling you, one of the fastest teams in the NFL, if not the fastest offensive team. Tyreek Hill, the fastest dude, really could be top 10 fastest humans on the planet right now. Probably not like Usain Bolt speed, but I'm telling you, Tyreek Hill, they call him Cheetah for a reason. Miami Dolphins should run right through the Washington Commanders. I like Miami all day in this matchup. 49.5 is the over-under. Probably go with the over here. I think Miami's going to score in the high 40s. That's what I want to see. So I love Miami over the trash Washington Commanders. And then we got the best game all weekend by far, by a long shot. San Francisco 49ers versus the Philadelphia Eagles. This is the NFC Championship rematch. This is going to be great. And Brock Purdy got hurt that game, but this year Brock Purdy over 2,800 yards passing, 19 touchdowns and 6 picks. Then you got the best running back in the league, Christian McCaffrey, 939 yards rushing and 11 tutties. You got Kittle with 5. Debo's balling out. You got Brandon Ayuk with 5 touchdowns. I think really San Francisco's favorite by 3 points. But what I've seen from Philly this year, they've been battled really. the most team ever, I think, in this year's NFL. I think they've been dealt with so much adversity this year, and I think really Philly, this is their game to win here. They're playing at home. I don't understand how they're not favorites here. Vegas is seeing something that I'm not seeing, but even though I don't think Jalen Hurts is exactly 100%, but Jalen Hurts this year over 2,600 yards passing, about 2,700 yards, 18 tutties and 10 picks. Then DeAndre Swift with 4 touchdowns. You got A.J. Brown over 1,000 yards receiving and 7 touchdowns. Then you got Devontae Smith with 5 touchdowns, 738 yards receiving. So you have really great receiving core for Philly. Same thing with San Francisco. They're both similar teams. They both play similar styles. Both have great defenses. But you know what? To me, I'm kind of leaning on Philly right now. I don't know why they're underdogs right now. That's a big question mark to me. That's a big question mark, but I'm going to go with the 49ers right now at 3. I'm probably not going to bet on this game. If you do bet on this game, I would bet it live at like halftime or something because I don't know what it is. I don't know how on God's green earth that the Philadelphia Eagles are underdogs. It doesn't make sense to me at all. I don't know why, but right now San Francisco started to get back to their old team, right? Playing discipline, scoring big-time plays, making big-time plays, scoring big-time drives, coming up with big sacks. I'm telling you, I'm going to go San Francisco just because right now it's fluky. I don't understand, but I'll take it right now. I won't bet on this game unless it's live, but I like San Francisco. Christian McCaffrey will be the difference here. That's why I'm leaning more towards San Francisco. McCaffrey is that guy. He's going to mismatch on a linebacker. That's a mismatch. We're going to McCaffrey every time. Take off San Francisco. 47.5 is the over-under. Probably lean more towards the under, but I love the 49ers. Barely. I don't want to bet on this game, but I'll go San Francisco. Just the Fouki line doesn't make sense to me. Really should be even right now. I don't know what it is, but I'll go San Francisco in Philly. This is going to be a great matchup. Best game all weekend. I cannot wait for this matchup. And then we got the Cleveland Browns versus the LA Rams. The Rams are 4-point favorites. Joe Flacco is starting for the Cleveland Browns. I didn't even realize Joe Flacco was still in the NFL. He got drafted back in 2008. He was the 18th overall pick in the first round. Joe Flacco, obviously drafted by Baltimore Ravens, won the Super Bowl with Baltimore, beat the San Francisco 49ers, and really that was his best year. It was just kind of like a fluke year for Joe Flacco. Is Joe Flacco a Hall of Famer? I don't know. It's probably a long shot. I mean, yes, he had one good run. I mean, he had a Hall of Fame defense, right? Lewis, Ed Reed, so many great players. I wouldn't say he's that great. And then Bolden, he had a star receiver, really should have been MVP that game in the Super Bowl. I don't know how Bolden wasn't, but I just think overall, man, I'm going Rams, obviously. Jerome Ford, 3 touchdowns. Amari Cooper, 2 touchdowns. 765 yards receiving. Shout out to 765, my hometown. But I'm going LA Rams here. Matt Stafford, 13 tutties, 9 picks. Kyron Williams out of Notre Dame, really playing great football, about 600 yards rushing and 6 touchdowns. I think he's going to have another heyday. If you got Kyron Williams on your fantasy squad, you are winning games here. He just put up, I think, 30 last game, which is insane. Over 200 yards rushing, or 200 all-purpose yards and 2 tutties. I love Kyron Williams. And then you got Puka with 3 touchdowns, Cooper Kupp with a touchdown. These guys, Puka definitely is going to be the future there. I really do. I think Matt Stafford, eventually they're going to go younger quarterback for the Rams. But right now, I think this game is going to be relatively close. But I like the Rams here. The Rams get back on a winning streak. They still have the outside chance of making the playoffs here. I really do. But I like the Rams. I like Matt Stafford and Kyron Williams. I think Kyron Williams is the difference here. The run game is the difference. Even though the Browns have a great defense, top 3 in the league, they really do. But I still like the Rams. I think Puka and Cooper Kupp are going to have a great game. 40.5 is the over-under. Probably lean more towards the over, but I love the LA Rams over the Cleveland Browns. And then we got the Sunday Night Football game. We got the Kansas City Chiefs leading the AFC West right now versus the Green Bay Packers in Lambeau Field. I like Kansas City, obviously. I'll take the 6 points. Patrick Mahomes, 21 tutties and 9 picks. Pachenko, 669 yards rushing and 5 touchdowns. Pachenko really coming along late. This kid, he's a small running back, but he runs hard. He plays every possession 100%. That's why I love him. And then we got Travis Kelce, 5 tutties. I'm telling you, I like Kansas City. They're leading the AFC West for a reason. They still have a great shot at making the Super Bowl and really repeating. I do think making the Super Bowl is different than winning it, right? Especially repeating. I think it's really going to be a long shot for them to repeat here. Just what I've seen from Kansas City, really some, up and down games, some inconsistency here. I really haven't seen, championship-worthy defense yet. And the receivers, not to mention for Kansas City, are trash. Dropping so many passes, 28 drops now. It's sad, dude. Not helping Patrick Mahomes at all. But Jordan Love had a good game last weekend. He's got 19 touchdowns total, 10 picks. A.J. Dillon a touchdown. He's starting this weekend on my fantasy squad for sure. It doesn't matter in the playoffs, so I can take an L. But I'm going Kansas City here at 6.5. I think Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce get that connection back. I think Travis Kelce's going to come around late. Yes, I understand dealing with the T. Swift drama. Is that getting to his head? I don't know. He did fumble a couple of weeks ago inside the red zone. But right now, I think Travis Kelce, this is the game where, hey, I'm going to ball out here. You can bet that Travis Kelce's going to score a touchdown this game in Lambeau Field on Sunday Night Football. Bet that bet. I'm telling you, that's a lock bet. Travis Kelce, Tutty all day. I like Kansas City. 42.5 is the over-under. Probably lean more towards the under, which sounds insane, right? 42.5, you got Kansas City. I just think Jordan Love and Green Bay, they're just, offensively, they're slow. They're inconsistent. I love the Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes take off. Kansas City is going to be that team to beat yet again because of their Super Bowl defending champions right now. Looking to repeat. So shout out to Kansas City. Shout out to Patrick Mahomes, the best quarterback in the league. Shout out to freaking the Kansas City Chiefs take off. And then we got the Monday Night Football game, the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaguars are 9.5-point favorites, which they should be. I'm going to go Jacksonville here. Joe Burrow's out for the year, out for the season with the wrist. It's over with. What's crazy is Jacksonville, this is their first Monday Night Football game in 12 years. In 12 freaking years, dude. That is insane, dude. That's crazy to me. That just blows my mind. That was back when I was in high school, dude. That last time on Monday Night Football. That is insane. That's crazy. But right now, the Jags, they're the team to be in the AFC South. They really are. They're going to win that division. I said it in week 1. Trevor Lawrence, 12 tutties, 7 picks. ETN, 7 touchdowns. Christian Kirk, 3 touchdowns. I'm telling you, I love the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think they can run deep in the playoffs as well. I think they could be that team where a lot of people overlook Jacksonville. They think they're not that good. They just kind of sweep them under the table. But I'm telling you right now, Jacksonville Jaguars are a huge threat in the playoffs. We saw that against the Chargers, dude. They upset them, dude. I'm telling you. So I love the Jacksonville on Monday Night Football. Like I said, their first game in 12 years on Monday night. The Bengals, they got Joe Mixon, 4 touchdowns this year. Jamar Chase, 914 yards receiving and 6 tutties. But, Cincinnati without Joe Burrow, they got Jake Browning, 2 tutties and 1 pig all season. It's just not cutting it. I think Jacksonville, this is the game where Trevor Lawrence is going to throw for 3 or 4 touchdowns. ETN a touchdown I like. So I love the Jacksonville Jaguars on Monday night. 39.5 is the over-under. I'm going to go with the over just because I believe in Trevor Lawrence and that offense. They're coming around late. ETN's running the ball good. I want to see Jacksonville put up some high 30s, maybe even in the 40s on Monday night. You're playing against the Cincinnati Bengals without Joe Burrow. This is the game to win right here. I'm telling you what. So I love the Jacksonville Jaguars on Monday Night Football. But what a week for the NFL, Week 13, which is, like I said, the best game all weekend is definitely the San Francisco 49ers in Philly. That game is a coin flip. That's why what bugs me about this is that line. 3 points, I don't know what it is. 3 points should be Philly. If Philadelphia was favored by 3 points, I'm 100% bet on Philly. But right now they're the underdog, and I'm thinking, what is this? Is this Vegas is trying to rig something or what? I don't know, dude. Are they saying Philly's going to win? I don't know. It's just sad right now. But that game, I can't wait for that game. But, my lock pick all weekend, which sometimes isn't lock picks, but my lock pick is definitely the Chargers over the New England Patriots. Even though Patriots historically play the Chargers great, but we're talking about a team that's trash right now. Watch the Patriots win. I'll be really pissed off. I really would. But that's my lock pick all weekend. But my Indianapolis Colts need to get the dub. Going into Tennessee. No JT, but we're still going to get the dub. Let's freaking go. It's the Cloud with Cam show. Let's go.